So a tantric is a person who lives in accordance to the free will, does not just keep on doing what is programmed to do. Tantric is that.
Right. So Tantric is someone who has attained control over himself and probably can help someone else on that
Can
aspect.
help. Can help. Yes.
help.
Yes, can help.
It's not necessary
It
that
is
all
not
Tantric
necessary.
will be able to help.
It is not necessary. Certain things we are programmed, we are conditioned. Through generations we are conditioned. If you break through that conditioning, the fear will be gone. You cannot demonize alcohol. Demon is in your mind. It wants to consume the whole bottle. तो फिर मैं क्या करूँ? तो अल्कोहल का कसूर उसमें? अरे भाई, सब कुछ करो. ह्यूमन एक्सपीरियंस में यहाँ पे इस समय में आपका जन्म हुआ है. एक्सपीरियंस एवरीथिंग. Don't cling on to anything. Who is clinging? The mind. But you want to demonize food, substance, pornography, sex, alcohol. ब्लेम कर दो किसी के ऊपर. मैं तो ठीक हूँ, ये तो ऐसा अल्कोहल इसलिए ऐसा हो गया.
Moving to another part of spirituality or something where we would love to know more and our audience would love to know more was Tantra. Somewhere Tantric word is used in a very negative denotion or so. What is Tantra and what is Tantric? Who is Tantric? What is Tantra and who is Tantric? If we can understand that.
What is Tantra? Tantra is mechanism. આપણે કહીએ સરકારી તંત્ર. For example, પાચન તંત્ર, રુધિરાભિસરણ તંત્ર. Tantra means mechanism. In its literal word sense, no? And then the subtler idea is Tantra, your three bodies. Your existence is divided into three bodies in this Vedic sciences or Tantric sciences or Vedanta. They talk of three bodies. પહેલું તો સ્થૂળ શરીર, એટલે the outer body, the gross body. Then at the mind level there is a subtle body, which is your psychological plane or the psychic body. And then there is astral body, એટલે કારણ શરીર. કારણ શરીર એટલે જો તમારે scientific terms માં સમજવું હોય તો that is the genetic code that you inherit from the whole genealogy. Your generations and everything that is decoded in form of data in your Rang Sutras, in your genetic code. But the genetic code is also gross body. It has a form. It is tangible. It is physical. It is matter. When the matter has to remain alive, that Karan Sharir, at that level of the genetic code, there has to be life in it for it to transfer the data. That life there, that energy is Karan Sharir. Genetic code को जो जिंदा रखती है वो ऊर्जा, that is Karan Sharir. Now all these three bodies, if you, a person who can be called a Tantric, who has transcended these three tan, these three bodies, Tantra, when you can transcend these three bodies, you start understanding that this body, the tangibility, is not me. The thought, the conditioning of the mind, the psychology that I am thinking that I am is not me. And everything that I have been programmed, conditioned at the level of the genes is not me. I am the illumining life force, the awareness force behind it. A person who lives in this sort of awareness throughout his life after he is graduated as a Tantric is called Tantric. Tantric means he has total control over his body, total control over his tendencies of the mind, and total control of what he is programmed to do. Then the free will can be exerted. There is a huge debate going on these days also on social media where quantum scientists, quantum physicists, spiritualists, people, saints, they are talking about whether we have free will. So a tantric is a person who lives in accordance to the free will, does not just keep on doing what is programmed to do. Tantric is that.
Right. So it's said that Tantric is said somewhere else. Buo is said somewhere else.
Bhuu એટલે shaman. Bhuu એટલે shaman.
એટલે
Shaman.
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 એટલે shaman, Tantric in Gujarati language is Buo. Now, if someone acts in a crazy way, where we presume that उसमें कोई आत्मा आ गई है,
हाँ.
either he can be mad, either उसके अंदर आत्मा आ गई है, either he is in illusion that he is seeing someone who is not standing with a knife, but he feels that that person is standing with the knife.
Hallucination.
So तांत्रिक ने बोला हो आनाમાં आत्मा घुसी गई છે, तांत्रिक को बुलाओ, इसमें आत्मा घुस गई है.
हाँ, तो naturally tantric will be able to help.
How will tantric help?
There is something called Biofield Energy. You know it with the name of aura. कुछ लोग बोलते हैं एनर्जी, ऑरा, ऊर्जा. कुछ आते हैं तो बोले नहीं उसमें बहुत नेगेटिविटी है, इसकी बहुत एनर्जी बहुत नेगेटिव है. वो दिखने लगता है जब आप कुछ साधना करते हो. जब व्हेन यू आर ग्रेजुएटेड एज तांत्रिक, नोबडी गिव्स यू अ सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ तांत्रिक. यू नो दैट नाउ यू कैन सी what is going inside the person, what is going on the surface of the person, and where will it hold the whole personality, where it will be steered, the communication, conversation, where it will go, the action, which side is going. If that awareness automatically starts coming as an insight, as an intuition to you, not through the intellect, then you know. So then you start looking at people's energies, intentions, psychology, problems, joys, nature, everything. If anybody who thinks is possessed, और he thinks कि इसके ऊपर एक्सोर्सिज्म की ज़रूरत है, या इसके ऊपर कोई आत्मा हावी हो गई है, या इसके ऊपर कुछ हावी हो गया है, तांत्रिक को बुलाओ, बाबा को बुलाओ, भुआ को बुलाओ. क्या हो सकता है? जो भी बंदा सफ़र कर रहा है, जो भी सब्जेक्ट है, द सब्जेक्ट इज सफरिंग. इफ ही इज सफरिंग ओनली देन देयर इज कंप्लेंट. इफ ही इज हैप्पी इन दैट स्टेट then there is no complaint. So there is suffering attached to delusion. The person who is a tantric will be able to come and see what's going on, what is the problem. It's like a scanner. If you go to an MRI, CT scan or X-ray, what does the machine do? It finds out what the problem is. But that can only happen at two levels, body level and the cellular level. At the subtler level, we still don't have the technology to diagnose the problem. We go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. There are set methods to see what the problem is with the psychology, with the mind, with the psyche. And still we are unable to come to a pinpoint conclusion as far as psychology or psychiatry is concerned, that what is the actual problem with the personality, what's the actual problem with the mind. This art and science of Tantra is to be able to first learn onto your own three bodies, evolve as a person from a personality, become an individuality, and then start looking at others. Start practicing as a tantric, wherein you are using the sixth sense or the insight or that intuitive capability that you have developed over this sadhana that you performed on yourself to use for others.
So tantric is someone who has attained control over himself and probably can help someone else on that
Can
aspect.
help. Can help.
Can
Yes.
help.
Yes, can help.
It's not necessary that
It is
all
not
tantric
necessary.
will be able to help.
It is not necessary. Also, it is not necessary that I can exert my science, art, siddhi at my will. It may happen, it may not happen. That is why there cannot be a price tag. No. Some people come to me, they ask me on social media also, we want to talk to you, or we want to have this problem handled by you. We want your this thing. How much will you charge? How can I tell you? I also don't know whether I'll be able to help you. I don't know. If I am able to help you, you know how much you can pay. So here, if you start commercializing this, if you think that this can be commercialized, putting a price tag, it cannot happen, because this is about intuition. And intuition is in nobody's command. Intuition comes from the Akashic records or from the universal consciousness. You become the medium. You see, when all three bodies, your gross body, your subtle body, and your astral body or causal body, all three, you have stopped becoming. And in that state of mind, you are becoming a plain medium. So from somewhere the energy, idea, intuition, knowledge is coming. And it's being blurted out. It's not that I know. It's not that I can exert whenever I want. It cannot happen. So anybody claiming that I can do it has yet to achieve it. It may happen through me. Let me try.
Okay.
That is the idea.
With whom? In today's world, there have been cases where there has been proclaimed misuse of the power.
Uh-huh.
And how does people understand that I should go to this person to solve a problem, to save themselves from falling into any trap? Or there are a lot of news, we see that this person misused this person, and that person was given spiritual leader or tantric or different forms. How should you beware from these kind of people? What are the traits of those people whom you should be a little away from going to ask help for?
Very difficult. Very difficult.
It is very difficult, but probably some indications you think.
Transparency. If the person you think is extremely transparent, not articulated, warm, in whose presence you feel unconditional love, you feel accepted. You are not seen as a subject. You are not seen as a client. You are not being treated as a case. You are being treated as a family member. You are being treated as a child. If that genuinely can be felt, then I think that could be one trait of a person who may be able to deal with all sorts of problems of your life. Why? Because when you transcend bhakti, what they say in the scriptures, when you transcend bhakti, there is only one thing remaining. And that is why they say that bhakti is the purest form of love. Because they say that love can do miracles. Which love? Not the love of transaction, not the love of give and take, but the love of only give. Huh? Look, when you say about, it's very difficult to get this idea across into an average today's mind, is that when you say that you keep giving in love, you're not talking about material giving. You're not talking about money or matter or material. You're talking about unconditional acceptance from that person. When you accept somebody, embrace somebody unconditionally, the way they are, and not trying to be a guru to them, try to be a friend to them, in that state of mind, miracles happen. Sudama and Krishna were friends. Anand and Buddha were friends. Arjun and Krishna were friends, although cousins. So with that sort of transparency, with that sort of warmth, with that sort of love and devotion towards the opposite person, the opposite Jivatma, whoever is approaching you, that.
So,
हाँ, तो आपका क्वेश्चन वो था कि वो तांत्रिक सच्चा है कि कैसा है, नहीं मालूम पड़ेगा कभी। आप अवेयर रहो, बस अंधे मत बन जाओ, गांधारी की जैसे पट्टी लगा के मत भागो किसी के पीछे, है ना। अपना अवेयरनेस, योर अवेयरनेस इज योर गुरु, एंड इट विल टेल यू that whether to go ahead with somebody, whether not to go ahead, where to stop. You don't get pulled. If you get pulled, अभी देखो, आप तो अपने माइंड के टेंडेंसीज के साथ ही पुल हो जाते हो सबसे पहले तो। इतने तो वोलेटिलिटी माइंड में है। In what happens, the mind will tell you something, other second it will tell you something else, and both the sides you are being pulled. This duality is the whole nature of anxiety, is the whole nature of all the mental disturbances today.
right.
So if you just retain your awareness and don't get blinded with anything, after anything, about anything, then you will not fall into that hot soup of wrong bhava, no?
So Tantric, Bao, or anyone who can.
Basically, biofield energy scientists. They are biofield energy scientists. They understand the energy. They can deal with it. They can diagnose and treat.
Right.
Not necessarily cure. What does the modern medicine do? They diagnose, they treat. Cure may happen, cure may not happen. There is no guarantee of cure anywhere. So here also it's the same. There is no guarantee of cure, but there can be diagnosis and there can be treatment at the subtler level.
Right. You shared a very important aspect, that don't be blinded.
Don't be
The
blind.
way Piper story, which is heard by everyone, that the Piper took all the rats in the river.
Bagpiper.
So it really took all the rats in the river and they all drowned. So don't be blind so much where you will get drowned by anyone's ill intent.
Bhed chal.
So don't just follow everyone. You might end up into something which might not be right or righteous in that ways. Now, as you said, that Tantric are biofield scientists in a way. So you talk about aura. I would just want to ask a very simple question is that sometimes people say that you have a weak aura, someone has a strong aura, and the strong aura overpowers the weak aura. Is this true or not?
Well, why not? Because at the psychological plane, with the psychic body or the subtle body, the same attitude is there, no? For example, you are stout, you exercise, you are strong, then you stand and walk in a certain way. That is through your first layer, the outer body. Similarly, if the mind is strong, if the mind is clear, if the mind is calm, composed, focused, one-pointed, then the mind will also stand and walk accordingly. So when there is a weaker aura, nobody is trying to dominate the weaker aura, but the weaker aura feels dominated because it is weak. And then there are stronger auras, they seem to be dominating because the weaker aura is receiving it that way, perceiving it that way. So it's not about auras doing anything. It's about their own state. How much radiation is there? Are you radiating or are you withered? If there is radiation, then there will be some amount of reception also. But if there is only reception, then problem. Then there is only radiation, then it's a problem. You radiate and you receive. That is how mutual. Why we say that the relationships are mutual. Similarly, the relationships between the auras or between the biofield energies are also that way. Your body has the power of immunity. It can fight certain infections, diseases, certain negative forces from the material world, germs, infections, bacteria, viruses, whatsoever. Similarly, at the energy sphere, at the level of that fabric of biofield energy. Similar immunity is required. Similar state of being stout, strong is required. That is how it is.
Right. What is biofield energy science? Is it, we'll start with what is biofield energy and science all about?
Okay. Imagine that you are in a state of calmness, total calmness. There are 50 people around you and 50 different thoughts going on there in their own heads. Somebody's fidgeting, somebody's singing, somebody's doing their job, whatsoever is going on. But you are aware of it, not directed to it. What happened? A state of calmness in your mind, a state of calm. In that state of calm, the vibration of your subtle body, which vibration? The energy vibration, the frequency at which all the cells of your neurological system are vibrated at. That frequency is a certain frequency. That frequency is being transmitted throughout your body at every cellular level. Each cell is imitating, following that captain sign badal. Now, every moment your mind is steering towards a different direction. In a moment you are angry. In a moment you are happy. In a moment you are excited. In a moment you are desirous. In a moment you are jealous. In a moment you are running to the past. Oh, such a nice holiday I had. In a moment you are thinking of when will I have that holiday and looking at Make My Trip or Booking.com or Thrilophilia, TripAdvisor in the future. What is happening to that frequency that you should be stabilized at? That will keep on revving up and down. Vroom, 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 vroom. High, down, from this direction to that direction, from past to future. This erratic behavior of energy will be transmitted throughout the cellular body. At each cell, this captain sign badal will create a havoc. Before the most distant part of your organ, which is your end of the gut, from where we excrete all the matter. Before the cells of your digestive system at the end will be able to hear and steer the frequency in a certain direction the mind has told. The state of mind has changed already. So what is happening? Discord, distortion, no consonance, no harmonicity. The harmony is lost between the mind and the cell. Mind is giving certain order. In a certain direction it is tuning the frequency. Before it reaches there, it changes. So what is happening? A state of instability, total, ad hoc, abrupt, with no law and order. For example, there is civil war in the country. What would happen? That state of cellular energy a person on an average is experiencing today. This energy and the energy of the calm, aren't they two different? You don't have to be a tantric to be able to just see at a person and be able to understand his state of mind. You will know. So imagine when you can start looking at what's exactly going in all three bodies of a person. If you start understanding that by experimenting on yourself, which you have gone through, which is called the phase of sadhana, that you have seen it in you, and because everybody is built same, all the iPhones are same, you agree? Only apps can be different. Only the customizations can be different. So this is the iPhone. Then SIM card or the software or the iOS is your subtle body. The phone is your outer body. Your iOS is the subtle body, and the causal body is your SIM card. So now you know that once you know an iPhone, you know the iPhone. There is very less which you don't know.
Okay.
Being able to have that understood is biofield energy science.
Okay. Now, if there are few questions interconnected with biofield science and energy, Indian Indian knowledge which was shared to me in a very uh, Hindu knowledge, my or practices which were half shared and half gained after seeing some videos and reading some books and all, where we use Namaste
Aha.
as a posture and we don't shake hands.
Hmm.
And it said that we don't shake hands because there's an exchange and we want to keep distance with the in different energies.
Hmm.
So, what's the importance of Namaste first? If we can know that, and then we can move towards shake hand.
Look, hygienically, Namaste is the best. We know that post-COVID, everybody knows that Namaste is the best. Huh?
Only post COVID we got to know this. Before that, we didn't know.
So there is a very spiritual meaning to Namaste, is to bow down or to respect the Ishwar Tattva or the divinity in the opposite person. It's basically Namaste is not to the body or mind, but Namaste is to the God that resides in you. That is why we say Namaste. Okay. Now, when you say Namaste and try to find out science in two palms joining, this happens, that happens. Okay. There are receptors in your hands through which the blind can read the braille. So they are very, very sensitive, the tips of the fingers and most of the parts of the palm. Like also the feet are also almost as sensitive as, but the tips of the fingers win the game. So they are used in braille. Now there are about 6,000 nerve endings in the palms. When you join them, it grounds you in a way that your whole balance of the mind, physically and mentally, come to an equilibrium. At least it helps the energies equalize. When you join hands, you will experience it if you just sit in silence for 5 minutes without joining your hands. And then there are mudras for different purposes, but and you join your hands and pray or meditate, and you will see, you will feel how calming, how balancing it is. Also in Shaolin or also in martial arts, whenever we require to balance, there is always Namaste pose. When you do Namaste, your neurological balance also improves. It comes in an equanimity. So Namaste's importance is that.
Okay. Now, shaking hand.
Shaking hand has no problem as such. I have heard, I know where you're indicating. I had heard on social media somebody talking that when you shake hands, your energy is taken away, and there is no such issue with shake hand. The only thing that I see is hygiene, because it's your personal hygiene. What you do with your hands, you know, if you are aware all the time, no? And whether you have washed your hands, and you don't want to unnecessarily transmit your germs to anybody whatsoever. It could be good germs. I'm not saying that it could be bad germs. Great.
But there would be some, as you said, there are various points. But there could be some exchange.
On the contrary, I believe that the exchange that happens when you hold hands with anybody, may it be like a boy and the girl, or may it be like any two person having just a normal shake hand, I think a lot of warmth can be transferred. We are all iPhones, like what I said, and iPhones are touch phones. We need touch. And when you touch somebody, better than shaking hands, I would say hug. But if you don't want to hug everybody, because now you're so afraid that you don't even want to shake hands with anybody, and you're thinking that my energy is being soaked away,
मेरा charging निकाल लेंगे।
बाय सम, हाँ, जैसे कि सब यहाँ पे घूमते हुए वो विजर्ड ही हैं, भूत वाले कि जो हाथ में मतलब कुछ खींच लेंगे हाथ में से, ऐसा कुछ है नहीं इतना डरने का। वो आप हाथ मिलाओ तो आप ऐसा हाथ मिलाओ किसी से कि वो आपके साथ कुछ वार्मथ, कुछ उसको आपकी गर्माहट महसूस हो, आपको उसको ऐसा लगे कि भाई हाँ, किसी ने मेरे साथ प्रेम का जो है आदान प्रदान किया. Some sort of warmth is being transferred through touch. And exactly, a lot of therapies in healing, a lot of therapies in spirituality, they involve touching the other person. For example, Shaktipat, you touch. And what happens in Shaktipat, I'm not talking about the wild videos that go around in name of Shaktipat, what they're showing, is that people start jumping and here and there and बेहोश हो जाते हैं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. लेकिन जो ecstasy फील हो सकती है किसी की भावना की वजह से आपके साथ, अगर आप किसी के साथ शेक हैंड कर रहे हैं, आपके मन में ये भावना है कि हाँ आज तो ये मिला है, इसको कैसे मेरे झांसे में उतार लूँ और इससे क्या ले लूँ, तो आपका शेक हैंड अलग होगा. या तो आप अगर ऐसा सोचें इसके बनिस्बत किसी के साथ कि भाई ये बंदा कितना मस्त है, बस, और ऐसे आप हाथ मिलाओ तो आपको जो मज़ा आएगा उसके साथ हाथ मिलाने में, इफ़ दैट इज़ प्योर हार्टेड, वो मज़ा, वो आनंद, वो ऊर्जा, वार्मथ उसके तक पहुंचेगी आज नहीं तो कल. इतना शेक हैंड का महत्व है. तो शेक हैंड को तो बहुत अच्छा है.
So Namaste has its own plus and
हाँ,
Shake
क्यों
hand
नहीं?
has his own plus.
Why not?
Now, the way I meet a stranger, I'll restart this again, where Krishna and Sudama photos in our whatever visuals and books were created and paintings were created, they had shown embracing each other.
Embracing each other, हाँ.
So the importance of embracing each other, also if it is done the way you explained on shake hand, कि अगर खींचतान होगा, टग ऑफ वॉर होगा, तो वैसे होगा कि लेट मी गेन मैक्सिमम आउट ऑफ हिम or let me control him with my energy. And everyone is not tantric, as you said, and everyone doesn't have control on their mind itself. How would they control someone else? So, and then embracing with hug, that is also an equal exchange. So there's a stages, like what I think is that you meet someone, you greet someone, the first is namaste, then you start getting closer, you shake hands, and then probably when you meet someone, because you have a connection, you give a hug.
Could be so.
It's not just physical touch, it's just the exchange.
Yeah, it's an expression, and through expression there is an exchange, no?
Right.
So certainly.
Right. Now again, in terms of biofield energy, I'm going to talk about something which is not talked so openly in our society, where we already have books. We talk about Kam Shastra. So in terms of biofield, people only talk about physical joy. We have not even talked about the energies which are exchanged, the energies which can give a birth to a life. They are exchanged in such a careless manner. What are your views on that?
See, it's a part of the evolution. Everybody has to go through the processes and then realize. For example, you can start exploring that, and everybody will eventually. All the animals, they do that, and we are one of them. So everybody will explore, but few will evolve. Few will understand that this exchange is just the primary way of understanding what the feeling of ecstasy is. And if that ecstasy can be given through purer expressions, purer ways, also that expression is pure. There is nothing wrong in that expression. But if you cling to that, if you think that pleasure is only there, then you will not evolve. That is it. It's also part of nature. It's a part of our being. Why not? It's okay.
Now, the last question in terms of this segment is, how can biofield energy and science help healing? Whether it is cancer, whether it is mental trauma, whether it is anything. Because it's said that in our books and our stories, लंगड़ा के चल रहा है आदमी या कोई तकलीफ है या कुछ है, हाथ रख दिया, प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व हो गई. शायद मुझे पता नहीं है कि ये स्टोरी सही है गलत है, बट डज Biofield energy and science have that capacity to heal anything?
Very nice question. Put across very clearly. Thank you. Look, Pangum Langate Girim. When you read that, it's in one of the shlokas. कि भाई जो लंगड़ा है उसको भी चलता कर दे, इस तरीके की जो ऊर्जा है, वो भगवान की बात की है उसमें. भगवान मतलब कि सुप्रीम डिवाइन स्पिरिट की बात की. लेकिन अगर कोई मन से लंगड़ा गया, मन से लड़खड़ा गया, मन से अपने आप को कहीं पे बांध के बैठा गया, किसी फियर में, किसी वृत्ति में, किसी वेंजेंस में, किसी के पीछे अंध होके भाग रहा, ऐसा जो मन का लड़खड़ा हुआ है, the one who is crippled through the mind tendencies can be made the way you said. Because it just requires a jolt to shake somebody awake. Most of the people, we live according to the program that we are supposed to be. Certain things, we are programmed, we are conditioned. Through generations, we are conditioned. If you break through that conditioning, the fear will be gone. And when the fear is not there, what happens? You become ultimate performer. There is nothing suffocating you. There is nothing pulling you down. This is the only thing that will help everybody who is crippled through the mind. Because they have brain, they have body, they have everything that everybody has. What is lacking? The load on the mind must be removed. We all are lamps, bulbs of same wattage, with same filament, being provided same power. All iPhones, all iOS, all have SIM cards or eSIM. Some have corrupted, and the corruption can happen at the level of the iOS, the subtle body, or corruption at the SIM level. And these both can be dealt with through Tantric Kriyas, which are not the Kriyas that somebody else is doing in form of havans and something. They are Kriyas given to you to be performed by you, like yogic sadhanas, mantra, yantra, visual meditation. Mantra is auditory meditation. Yantra is visual meditation. And through both of these, trying to attain Tantra, trying to understand, decode the Tantra, the self. And by that way, evolving through the bondages of your mind. Re-establishing a clear iOS, re-establishing a newer SIM, a newer identity, or understanding who you are. Realizing the IMEI number. That way. So this is the philosophy. If you understand this, then you will agree that this is science. By this way, you can certainly establish, अगर आपको metaphorically कहना है कि कोई आया, लड़खड़ाता हुआ, लंगड़ा था, ऐसा था, गुरु जी ने उसके सर पे हाथ रखा और वो पैदल चल के गया. इसका मतलब क्या? वो कुछ संशय लेके आया था. वो उसकी ऑरा लड़खड़ाई हुई थी. उसकी जो एनर्जी थी वो कुंठित थी, बंधी हुई थी, खुली नहीं थी. और गुरु जी ने हाथ रखा मतलब कुछ ज्ञान दिया, कुछ प्रोसेस दिया, कुछ रास्ता दिखाया, दिशा दी, कुछ एनर्जी ऐसी जिससे वो खुल के मस्ती में, कॉन्फिडेंस में, एंथुजियाज्म में वापस गया. तो ये मेटाफर है. कोई लंगड़ाता हुआ आया तो सिर्फ वो तो ऊपर वाला कर सकता है ऐसा कि लंगड़ाता हुआ आया और हाथ रखा और चलने लगा. और अगर कोई ऐसा दिखा रहा है तो बहुत अच्छा, हम भी आएंगे कभी, हमको कोई तकलीफ होगी तो तुम्हारे पास, हमको हाथ छू के करना. ठीक.
So, okay, as again and again I had brought in Hinduism and spirituality in our conversation. How Hinduism and spirituality are interlocked, if I may ask very clear question on this.
Hinduism is the spiritual way of living. They are not interconnected, they are one. Hindu way to live, Hindu way to learn, Hindu way to educate your children, educate yourselves, educate the society is the way to spiritual living. And that is why Hinduism is not a religion. Neither Hinduism asks you to be religious or follow a religion. Gita itself tells you, leave back your religions. Whatsoever your religions are, sarva dharman parityaj. Leave them aside and come to me, because I am the supreme form of you, within you, awaken me. There is knowledge. Swadharma jagrut karna. So Hinduism is the spiritual way of living if we understand Hinduism the way it is. और अगर हमको ये सनातनी के नारे लगा लगा के हम हिंदू है बस इतना करना है तो करो, न जगना, नींद में जगड़ो हवा से.
So Hinduism does not say conflicting with anyone.
Anybody.
It is just the way of life, and that is why Hinduism is still alive despite of various invasions have happened.
Conflictlessness you mentioned, no? Without any conflict with anybody. You said. What is conflictlessness? Ayodhya. Ayudhyatva. Absence of युद्ध and absence of conflict. अयोध्या में राम का जन्म होता है. जहां अयुध्यत्व है, if you are in consonance with your philosophy of being in no conflict with outer world or being in no conflict with the inner world, then Ram will awaken within you. Then this kingdom that you have temporarily, there the reign of Ram will prevail. ये आइडिया है. तो हम तो राम 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 अयोध्या अयोध्या, या क्या अयोध्या, ये अयोध्या है. कन्फ्लिक्टलेसनेस लाइक व्हाट यू सेड. सो कन्फ्लिक्टलेसनेस डज नॉट मीन कि भाई आप जो हो रहा है वो होने दो, लेकिन आपको किसी तरीके का जो है अध्यात्म को पाने के लिए या तो इतना मॉडर्न जो ये टर्मोइल में हम जी रहे हैं, एक अंधों के जैसे भाग रहे हैं किसी चीज़ के पीछे, पता नहीं किस चीज़ के पीछे. हर रोज अलग अलग चीज़ के पीछे भागता है और सोच रहा है कि वहाँ से मुझे ये मिलेगा. वो वहाँ से नहीं मिलेगा. वो सिर्फ स्पिरिचुअलिटी में, सिर्फ हिंदू फिलोसॉफी में आपको मिलेगा. आप हिंदू फिलोसॉफी को स्पिरिचुअल मत कहो. हिंदू स्पिरिचुअलिटी ही हिंदू फिलोसॉफी ही स्पिरिचुअलिटी है. धर्म स्पिरिचुअलिटी नहीं है.
Another question connected to Hinduism again. Hinduism's tolerance and acceptance over other culture. So we are extending the same conversation here. So what is Hinduism's tolerance and acceptance to other cultures over the centuries?
We have always been welcoming. We have always welcomed everybody, and we have always embraced everybody, tolerated everyone. So this question is totally out of place. Everybody knows across the whole globe that Hinduism has become like what it is because Hinduism is not a religion. If it were a religion, then religions are staunch. They have boundaries. They are crystallized. There is no crystallization in Hindu philosophy. And the real spirituality is to dissolve your crystalline nature. If you can dissolve your crystalline nature, this crystallization that is occurring will also be dissolved. Then you will not be in conflict with anybody. And nobody is interested in eliminating anything. No.
Okay.
People will come and go. Religions will come and go. Cultures will come and go. Nobody is permanent here. It's just been 5,000-10,000 years.
Okay.
So what are you afraid of? Just gather the spiritual approach, gather the spiritual awakening, and then you will not feel threatened. There is nothing to be threatened, no?
Right. Now, which are few books or few literature or something, if someone wants to understand Hinduism a little better, what would be those books?
Unfortunately, books cannot help. But I think you must read great masters. Try to pursue the window to Vedanta. Try to read something from Buddhism. You may want to read Krishnamurti or Osho or Shankaracharya, for example, and every religion. If you really want to read, then read all the religions. Try to understand the philosophy, and you will know at once that all the religions, all the cults, everything, they are all pointing to one spiritual awakening as godly state of mind. The state of mind is God. You will never come face to face, because there is no face with the Creator, with the God. God is within you, and only true philosophy, true spiritual knowledge that you will gain, you will have to wander. Read books, meet people, travel, meditate, do processes. No? In order to evolve, you will have to keep no stone unturned. Otherwise, only reading will not help, because reading is very shallow form of gaining knowledge. Reading will not help. Probably listening. Shastras also mention कि भी श्रवण करो और चिंतन करो. श्रवण का मतलब है listen, and चिंतन is contemplation, meditation.
There's a lot to talk between us, but now moving towards the last segment and the last important aspect, which I don't want to miss out talking today, is how can alternate medicine integrate with modern healthcare, and where we should place our trust. Before going to this question, I would also want to indicate that there is various modern medicines has always, or some leaders in modern medicines have always disagreed with alternate medicine. Modern medicine was created for curing people, helping people to overcome pain. So painkillers were invented so that if there is a cut of a sword, that person will not feel the pain, or stop the cut from spreading poison. So again, repeating the question, so all the medicines, all the cures, all the remedies were created for curing and helping human or animal or any living being to heal. Whether we talk about plants, if a tree has got some infection, then someone who knows organic farming or knows the trees will give a medicine. Whether it is organic or natural medicine, or whether it is a pesticide, if required, you have to give. So, putting the question again, how can alternate medicine integrate with modern healthcare, and why it should not conflict with each other?
There is no question of conflict between modern medicine and alternative medicine. The times have changed now. All the osteopathic doctors or allopathy doctors, whatever you call them, they are very much accepting towards phytomedicine for plant origin medicines, or Ayurveda, new Ayurveda, if you call it. The new term or the new times are going to be towards the direction of functional medicine. Functional medicine means the patient and the condition, or the disease and the symptom, the disease remains in the center. It's not about whether my way of curing or your way of curing is superior. It's about combining therapies. So there are mainstream therapies or mainstream treatments and adjunct treatments. And usually all the adjunct treatments are from the alternative medicine side. That much change has started to occur. So the new term coined for it is functional medicine. And functional medicine is about integrating everything that will work for betterment of the complaint, for betterment of the patient. That time has come, and I really hope that medicine goes in that direction of keeping the biochemical and psychological wellness in a consonant as a consonant pursuit. Usually the diseases that we see start way early than we start looking at them pathologically. कि भाई सरफेस पे आया, अब डायबिटीज़ हुआ है, या अब डिप्रेशन हुआ है, या अब कैंसर हुआ है. इसकी शुरुआत बहुत पहले से हो जाती है, शायद कुछ जनरेशन पहले से हो जाती है. और ये शुरू हो जाता है सटल बॉडी से, द स्टेट ऑफ माइंड से. So I remember a quote from this book called Yoga Mudras and the five ways to meditation by Dr. Ram Murthy S. Mishra. He was a neurologist and a psychologist both together, and a great man. This book is not available these days, but somewhere you'll be able to read it on the internet. Yoga Mudra and the 5 points for meditation. He says that every disease is psychological at the first. Then it becomes physiological. So it starts truncating the whole physiology or the chemical state of the body. The biochemistry starts affecting, like what we spoke about. The state of the mind will eventually resonate throughout at the cellular level of the body. And then it will emerge as pathology. Pathology is the last stage where we see the symptoms, where we see the values, pathological values. है ना? तो ऐसा है.
बराबर. Now, something connected to this is the question raised about the pharmaceutical industries and their influence on healthcare industry and the standards.
What of it?
So if they want to promote a particular product, they would change the standard.
But you don't listen to anybody, no? You use your awareness, you use your common sense, no? Somebody will come and tell you anything. They will tell you today this is good, then tomorrow they will change their statement. Then today this is now, they will come out with a new product, new and improved. Why do you have to believe everything you listen to? It could be a scientist speaking, it could be anybody speaking, it could be me speaking. You don't believe outright. You just try remaining in the mode of awareness. You don't, most of the drugs and most of the things that are being pushed in the market today, you don't need them. But the need is being arised. Then they will brainwash you. Then they will do lots of things. They will give out research papers and clinical trials and everything. Why do you believe everything? You leave it aside now.
Right. But what about the standards of, say, probably diabetes or blood pressure or...
You're talking about the criteria.
Yes.
That the medical association
that
keeps
has
on
been
changing.
kept changing.
It keeps on changing. Of course, it will keep on changing because as a human, your whole body is also evolving slowly. Things that were not normal earlier are now normal. Things that were abnormal earlier are normal today. Things that were normal yesterday will become abnormal tomorrow. That's going to happen. But if you think that somebody sitting in a corner can standardize it and looking at the numbers कि भाई पहले ऐसा था कि भाई डायबिटीज़ में until 120 diabetic fasting blood sugar, if it's up to 120 in the morning, they were not considered diabetic. Now it's coming down, now it's 110, somebody says 100. तो वो इतना फिगर को देख के आप तुरंत एकदम हड़बड़ा जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. कॉमन सेंस की बात है. कुछ चीज़ें दिखेंगी रिपोर्ट में, न रिपोर्ट परमानेंट है न वो फाइनल है, और आपको मालूम है कि लाइफस्टाइल में कुछ कुछ सिंपल चेंजेस करने से कैसे ये लाइफस्टाइल डिसीज़ को, या ये जो आपका ये जो डर है, ये जो खौफ है कि भाई रिपोर्ट ऐसा आ गया, रिपोर्ट वैसा आ गया, ऐसा नहीं है. कितने लोग ऐसे हैं जो इनकी जो स्टैंडर्ड रेंज होती है इससे बाहर होते हैं, कोई अंडर होते हैं. ऐसा हो सकता है. ऐसा कुछ ज़रूरत नहीं है इतना ज़्यादा घबरा के कुछ करने का.
ऐसा नहीं है कि देयर इज ऑलवेज अ माल प्रैक्टिस. देयर माइट बी चेंज विच वॉज रिक्वायर्ड एंड प्रॉब्ली इट वॉज अ मिस्टेक अर्लियर, इट इज करेक्टेड नाउ. सो okay, this question, as a disclaimer, I would like to, this question was not being promoted or asked by any connected promotion, and this is unbiased in nature. And Now, the role of religion in healthcare.
Science has to be unbiased. The whole problem with today's time is that science is becoming biased. No, science means unbiased. There is no need to say. It's needless.
Right. Now, we talk in Hinduism, Ayurveda was prevalent. In Muslim culture, Unani was prevalent. So different in Greece, there was a different
There are
science of healthcare.
100 different sorts of medicines across the world.
Yeah. So what is the role of religion in healthcare?
Well, see, religion in healthcare, very nice. For example, you see a certain sect or certain religion, certain cults, they will not eat onion garlic और ये सब जो सारा इसका है, that basically relates to the whole idea of a religion being dominant in a certain industry or in a certain action in the society. For example, when the warriors turned businessmen, they settled themselves they became civilized. They started sitting at businesses, or they started taking care of temples or schools or businesses. There was no need for them to eat certain foods because those foods were aggressive in nature, tamasic some of them, rajasic some of them. So religion went into the detail कि भाई हमारे लोग तो ज़्यादातर अब यही प्रवृत्ति करेंगे. जैसे कि ब्राह्मण है तो अब ये एजुकेशन ही करेंगे, पूजा ही करेंगे, ये करेंगे, वो करेंगे, ऐसा. तो इस एक्टिविटी के लिए, फॉर दिस mental band, for this intellectual function, for this physical function, which foods should be given and which should be eliminated. This is what they found out. And it was very basic. ऐसा नहीं है इसमें क्योंकि इतना बात करते हैं कि बहुत जटिल विज्ञान है. ऐसा कोई जटिल विज्ञान नहीं है इसमें. बहुत सिंपल तरीका. जटिल विज्ञान आपको मज़ा आता है इसलिए आप बनाते हो उलझा के. जटिल विज्ञान है नहीं. There is no rocket science. Even today, I have been practicing nutrition and alternative medicine for 15 years now. My approach is always simple. If you cannot simplify, you are not an expert. If you can complicate, everybody can complicate. You call the monkey will be able to complicate more than you. Then you should pay them more. Today you want to pay to the people who complicate. I give you simple solutions, you don't like it. You want अंग्रेजी डब्बाज. कोई आता है मैं बोलता हूँ अच्छा ऐसा खाओ. नहीं, हमको प्रोटीन पाउडर लेना है. ठीक है, लो. प्रोटीन पाउडर में मैं कुछ नहीं बोलता हूँ बुरा है ये है, लेकिन तुम्हारा हो जा रहा है, अभी डब्बा खाने का ज़रूरत नहीं है, खाना है, खाओ. क्या करूँ? तो सिंप्लीफिकेशन जो है ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. सिंप्लीफिकेशन, रिलीजन सिंप्लीफाइड द फूड प्रैक्टिसेस सो दैट यू डिड नॉट हैव टू वरी कि भाई मैं ये नहीं खाऊँ, इसमें क्या होगा. आज क्या हो रहा है, आप रिलीजन नहीं फॉलो कर रहे हो क्योंकि वो जो कंटेक्स्ट उन्होंने जिस कंटेक्स्ट में फूड की बात की थी वो आज प्रिवेलेंट नहीं है वो कंटेक्स्ट. नाउ एनी रिलीजन विल बी डूइंग एनी वर्क, एनी जॉब, एनी एक्टिविटी. So now you decide upon your intellectual and your physical needs what you will eat. That is religion of today. Now अगर आप बोलोगे कि नहीं मैं रिलीजन फॉलो करता हूँ, ये मैं नहीं खाता हूँ, तो आप एक्सपीरियंस, पूरा जो ह्यूमन एक्सपीरियंस है उसको या तो नहीं जी रहे हो या तो फुल फिजिकल कैपेसिटी में, फुल मेंटल कैपेसिटी में, फुल इंटेलेक्चुअल कैपेसिटी में ब्लूम नहीं हो पा रहे हो. अगर आप कोई भी फूड से ऐसा कर रहे हो, मैं तो कह रहा हूँ जंक फूड भी खाओ. आज का समय है, जो भी यहाँ आज बन रहा है वो हमारी इंटेलेक्चुअल इवोल्यूशन की वजह से बन रहा है. चाहे अल्कोहल हो, चाहे एवोकाडो हो, चाहे कुछ भी हो, दाबेली हो, वड़ा पाव हो, कुछ भी हो, लेकिन आप अवेयरनेस में खाओ ना उसको. आप क्यों डिमोनाइज कर रहे हो किसी भी चीज़ को? तो रिलीजन ने क्या किया, इसको सिंप्लीफाई किया कि भाई ऐसा, अब वो कंटेक्स्ट नहीं है. तो ये है रिलीजन्स और फूड साइंस में ये ऐसा है. हाँ.
So I'd met someone who I forgot what he was practicing, but what he has said something very wonderful on consuming things in awareness. That we were having consuming some alcohol, and he said, "You don't drink." No, I don't drink.
हाँ, आई डोंट ड्रिंक तो बहुत अच्छा, एंड आई ड्रिंक तो उससे अच्छा. बहुत किस्म, आई डोंट ड्रिंक. अरे क्या आई डोंट ड्रिंक, ऐसा कौन है तू?
हाँ, तो okay. But he said one thing very simple, कि if you want to drink, you want to do whatever you want to do, but do it in an aware manner Your body is your temple. You can allow what you want. If you can consume poison, please allow poison. Not that I'm saying that alcohol is a poison or not. I'm not in capability to say anything of that sort.
नो वी नो इट इज़ अ पॉइजन, पर उसमें क्या होगा, ये एक ही पॉइजन आप पीते हो. अल्कोहल की आपने बात की, अभी आजकल इतने वैज्ञानिक ये मचे हुए हैं, इतने यहाँ ऐसा सोशल मीडिया में आके अल्कोहल इज टॉक्सिक एट एवरी लेवल. भाई अल्कोहल टॉक्सिक आज है, अल्कोहल टॉक्सिक 10,000 साल से. हम इंसान बने, हम बंदर थे तब से हम अल्कोहल पी रहे हैं. कैसे? जो बेरीज सारी गिरती थी ऊपर से, जो फ्रूट सारे, तो कहीं कहीं पे रॉकी सरफेस, क्लीन सरफेस में जितने भी फ्रूट वहाँ गिर के फर्मेंट होके पुराने हो जाते थे, तो उसमें थोड़ा थोड़ा अल्कोहल अपने आप सेल्फ जनरेट होता था. और वो हम बंदरों के फॉर्म में जब थे, जब पूरा होमोसेपियन भी नहीं बने थे, 2 पैर पे भी ठीक से नहीं चल पा रहे थे, तब से खा के आनंद में झूम रहे हैं. ऐसा नहीं है आजकल झूम रहे हैं. तो वो हमारे साथ इवॉल्व हुआ है. वो फूड, जितने भी फूड हैं, जो भी कल्चरल culinary हैबिट्स हैव इवॉल्व्ड अलॉन्ग विथ अस. दे हैव नॉट कम फ्रॉम आउटर स्पेस समवेयर कि भाई आज कल सुबह उठ के एकदम से अल्कोहल आ गया तो अलग बात है. भाई ऐसा तो था नहीं. सो अल्कोहल, यू डोंट डीमोनाइज एनी फूड. इन तंत्र देर पंचमकार का एक, वो पंचमकार में मदिरा, मत्स्य फिश मतलब सी फूड, मांस मतलब कार्निवोरस ओरिजिन, एनिमल ओरिजिन, मीट. Mudra are certain herbs. For example, psychedelic herbs. Mudra are herbs, not these mudras. In yoga, this is mudra. In Panchmakar mudra means herbal support. And Maithun is the sexual practice. Through these 5, using these 5, you can evolve, you can awaken the tantric being from within you. So these are as important as all the other foods. You cannot demonize alcohol. Demon is in your mind. It wants to consume the whole bottle. तो फिर मैं क्या करूं? तो अल्कोहल का कसूर उसमें? तो कसूर ऐसा नहीं है अल्कोहल का किसी भी तरीके
डीमन
से.
आप में अगर होगा कि नहीं, मैं आप में वो वृत्ति होगी, वो अल्कोहल से शायद जग सकती है.
हाँ, उसमें से अल्कोहल में बहुत पावर है. अल्कोहल में रजस, थोड़ा सा लो तो रजस मतलब एक्टिविटी. थोड़ा सा आप देखो, 1-2 ड्रिंक आप लोगे, इट विल इम्प्रूव योर कॉन्फिडेंस, इम्प्रूव योर जजमेंट, इम्प्रूव योर क्लैरिफाई योर थिंकिंग, गिव यू एक्टिविटी, गिव यू एनर्जी. देन more than that, it goes into tamas. Then you want to see it, you don't want to do anything, somebody tells you anything, you suddenly explode. या तो एकदम से कुछ और ही आपका परसेप्शन ही कुछ अलग हो जाता है और अलग तरीके से, या तो फिर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या सो जाओगे या मार पीट करोगे. ऐसा कुछ कब हो जाता है? बहुत जब तामस में चला जाता है. किसी भी चीज़ को आप उसकी मात्रा में इस्तेमाल करो. ये दवाई है, इसीलिए दवा दारू ये साथ में कहा जाता था इतने सालों से. दवा, दारू और दुआ. अब दुआ की तो हमको पड़ी नहीं है, अब दारू को भी बना दिया ये, अब ये इसमें भी बने हैं, इसको दवा को भी डिमोनाइज करने के लिए फार्मास्यूटिकल दवा. भाई दवा है, ज़रूरत मत खड़ी होने दो, लेकिन अगर ज़रूरत है उसको ज़रूरत के डोजेज में इस्तेमाल करो वैज्ञानिक पहलू से. उसका जो वैज्ञानिक पहलू है, विद एन एस्पेक्ट ऑफ साइंस, विद द पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ साइंस, यू यूज़ इट एंड यू सी वेयर इट कैन टेक यू.
Now, the moment alcohol becomes tamas and it becomes an addiction, what's your advice to people to regulate in that situation where it becomes as an habit or it becomes as something which can hurt a lot of people and himself first, forget about others?
The monkey mind is like that. We became humans from the outer side, no? But inside there is still that monkey. किसी भी चीज़ का दुरुपयोग, मिसयूज कैसे करना, ये हमारे दिमाग में प्री प्रोग्राम्ड है. यूजेज के लिए शायद किसी के पास जाना पड़ता है, भाई इसका उपयोग क्या करूं, लेकिन ये कुछ भी चीज़ों उठा के किसी के सर पे मारने के लिए किसी को पूछना पड़ता है, तो ये दुरुपयोग है. ये कैसे? अंदर ही है, इंस्टिंक्टिवली है. दुरुपयोग करना पहला, किसी को सिखाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. तो जो भी आदमी अल्कोहल का इस्तेमाल करेगा वो एक बार तो उसको मिसयूज़ करेगा ही करेगा, ये पक्का है. लेकिन आप अल्कोहल पीने के बाद क्या करते हो, इससे तय होगा कि आप इसको मिसयूज़ करोगे या यूज़ करोगे. आजकल अल्कोहल का क्या है कि भाई हम तो बहुत काम कर लिया, ऐसा हो गया वैसा हो गया, अब हमको रिलैक्सेशन के लिए अल्कोहल चाहिए. अब अल्कोहल जब रिलैक्सेशन के लिए लेते हैं, इसमें से कितने लोग अल्कोहल लेके रिलैक्स होते हैं या अपने माइंड को रिलैक्स होने देते हैं? अब बताओ. आप बिजनेस की चर्चा में लग जाओगे, आप सोशल मीडिया में लग जाओगे, आप फिल्म देखोगे, ऐसा करके आप माइंड को रिलैक्स होने ही नहीं देते हो. आप अल्कोहल पीने के बाद मेडिटेशन करो, चलो एक बार मेरे साथ, फिर आप देखो अल्कोहल का पावर क्या है. आप अल्कोहल पीने के बाद एक बार डांस करो. कैसा डांस? किसी को दिखाने के लिए, फोटोग्राफ अपलोड करने के लिए नहीं, अपनी मस्ती में. आप अल्कोहल पीने के बाद सेल्फ अवेयरनेस के लिए कोई भी प्रवृत्ति करो, आपको वो आगे ले जाएगी. और अगर आप अल्कोहल पीने के बाद वो जो रजस उठ रहा है, जो एनर्जी उठ रही है, उसको कहीं पैसिव वे में लगा दिया. बिजनेस मीट में अल्कोहल पीते हैं, अब बोलो बिजनेस, वी विल टॉक बिजनेस ओवर ड्रिंक्स. दैट इज नॉट द होल आइडिया ऑफ ड्रिंकिंग. द होल आइडिया ऑफ ड्रिंकिंग इज टू रिमेन विथ योर सेल्फ, ट्राइंग टू dive deeper inside. That is why tantrics they use charas, ganja, bhang, ayahuasca, all sorts of psychedelic, the mushrooms, alcohol, and they go down to the level of meat, seafood and sex, because these three can also give you that sort of ecstasy, that sort of energy, that sort of psychedelia, that sort of state of mind, exhilaration. Exhilaration is acceleration plus calmness. So you use it that way, and then nobody, if this is understood, if this is practiced, and this is, once somebody introduces you to this side of drinking, you will not be habituated to anything. I'm telling you, you will not be habituated to even your own personality, even your own thoughts, your own ideas. There will be no insecurity. No, there is nothing to cling upon. Habit is what? Habit is you cling upon. You are clinging upon. It's not the nature of the thing. कुछ लोग ऐसे नहीं होता है सर. चाय का आदत है तो हमने ढूंढ लिया भाई चाय में निकोटीन है, कैफीन है, इसलिए ये चाय को पकड़ लेता है. तो कौन कसूरवार? कैफीन, निकोटीन. सिगरेट में क्या हुआ? ये तत्व. हमारा काम है ब्लेम करना, तत्व को ब्लेम करें. अरे भाई तत्व को ब्लेम नहीं करना है, आप अपना माइंड सीधा करो ना. आप क्यों चिपक जा रहे हो उसके साथ? आप देखो ना उसको लेने के बाद क्या हो रहा है. आप अपने आप को ज़्यादा पहचानो, वो करके फिर किसी चीज़ की आदत नहीं लग सकती. अल्कोहल से तो बहुत बड़ी बड़ी आदतें हैं हमको, जैसे कि अहंकार की आदत. आप देखो किसी को 1 सेकंड लगता है अहंकार, आप टेस्ट करो. मैं तो कभी कभी ऐसा बाबा का वेश में घूमता हूँ, कभी कभी ऐसा लुंगी वुंगी में, कभी ऊपर पहनता नहीं पहनता, टोपी लगाऊँ, चश्मा लगाऊँ, अलग अलग, कभी इतना माला, ऐसा घूमे. तो वहीं जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ, वही लोग जो मेरे को जानता है वो मेरे सामने में ना देखे ऐसा चला जाए वहाँ से. इतना अहंकार. तो अल्कोहल से मत डरो, अहंकार से डरो. पहले तो जो खा रहा है तुमको, तो अहंकार खा रहा है, तुम्हारे माइंड की वृत्ति खा रही है, तुम अल्कोहल के पीछे पड़े हो. सिगरेट मत पियो, ये मत करो, वो मत करो. अरे भाई सब कुछ करो. ह्यूमन एक्सपीरियंस में यहाँ पे इस समय में आपका जन्म हुआ है. एक्सपीरियंस एवरीथिंग. डोंट क्लिंग ऑन टू एनीथिंग. हु इज क्लिंगिंग? द माइंड. बट यू वॉन्ट टू डिमोनाइज फूड, सब्सटेंस, पोर्नोग्राफी, सेक्स, अल्कोहल. ब्लेम कर दो किसी के ऊपर. मैं तो ठीक हूँ, ये तो ऐसा अल्कोहल इसलिए ऐसा हो गया. अल्कोहल को डिमोनाइज करो.
Thank you for sharing this.
थैंक यू.
Insightful, and this podcast has been had deep rises and lows, and we've been exchanging this conversation to, and I've been strategically I've thought of some questions which could really put across various perspectives which we generally do not like to listen. So necessarily, Variety with Vishwam might not just get you everything which you want to listen, which you might feel good about. So we're talking about good, bad, great things to make ourselves a better people, and getting people, their perspectives can make you feel different. We're talking about different things, and same was today's podcast, where we had exceeded extensively talking, and maybe this podcast would be divided into some small parts or some episodes and would be released to you. Thank you very much, Parth Bhai, first of all, and thank you very much to the entire team for patiently being there.
That's a big thing.
And
Very
luckily,
big
we
thing.
have an audience today in the studio also,
Audience
who is so I'm sure we'll take some good feedback, and it was a very good
Thank you.
podcast, and we had actually discussed a lot of times what we are going to talk and what we are not going to talk, and we had eventually talked about something which we had not planned. But yes, the main moral remained the same, though the process and the way differed. Thank you very much, everyone, and see you soon. Do follow us.